So how do you keep your mind in a positive place? We talked about meditating, we talked about affirmations, we talked about visualization, we talked about breathing, and all this. Some of these are in here. It's one thing is meditate. The first thing that I do is meditate. Meditation helps me to connect deep into the source so that I can see a reality that is beyond my conscious scope. And when I can tap into that reality, then I know that there's something else out there. And as long as I stay into that, the correspondence, which is above is below, comes into my life. So therefore, what I'm seeing in my visions or seeing in my energy comes to me physically in this three-dimensional world. And we talked about earlier, we live in a three-dimensional world, which is a 3D. See, touch, feel, hear, taste. We live in this physical world, in this physicality. However, we also exist in the fifth dimension. So when we are awake, we're in the third dimension. When we go to sleep, we go into the fourth and the fifth dimension. Fourth dimension, mostly in the sleep. We go into the fifth dimension, we go into meditation. So if we can bring the information back from the fifth dimension into the third dimension and know it, then the third dimension shifts and changes and becomes what's in the fifth dimension. And that's the trick. That's the secret to the attraction, is attracting what's in the fifth dimension into the third dimension. And we do that by detachment. We talked about detachment earlier. Detachment is the tricky one. Have you ever heard of detachment?
No.
Okay. Detachment is having one thing in your hand and wanting something else in your life, or having something in your life and wanting something else in your life, and wanting it so bad that you want to draw it to you, but you know you don't have it. So you're drawing it to you, and you're using meditation, you're using affirmations, you're trying to bring this to you. Now the trick is to bring it to you completely, you have to detach from it, which means you have to imagine or feel that you already have it.
Okay.
Now that's the trick. People used to tell me, well, you have to meditate, you have to affirm, you have to do this, and you have to do that. And if you want to draw it into your life, you just have to constantly see it. And how do you constantly see something when you want it, but you don't have it? So if you see it and you want it, then you constantly see that you don't have it. That's confusing to me. It's confusing to everybody. So what I started to do was understand detachment. So what I started doing was going into a fifth dimension and imagining that I had it in that dimension. When I imagined I had it in that dimension, I enjoyed it so much to the point where it was just like anything else. If you ever buy a new car or a new house, you get it and you're happy and you're like, oh, I love this house, but 6 months later, like, this house is a bill. It's like, it's not, the love is kind of diminished because you already got it. So what I started doing was I started going into the fifth dimension and creating it in that fifth dimension and living in it and loving it so much that I was like, man, I already got it. I don't really want it anymore because I already experienced it, so I got tired of it. And so then all of a sudden it shows up in the third dimension. Because now I still want it because I sent that out to the universe, but now I'm completely detached from it. And when I detach from it, that's when it literally shows up into the third dimension.
And you get it.
And you get it, yeah. You get
So
it.
basically you have to let it go.
There you go. Detachment is letting it go. Yeah. But it's hard to let it go when you want it so bad.
Right.
That's the trick. I want this, I want this, I want this. But it's like, oh man, I want it. How do I detach from something I want so bad? And that's when you just have to use the skills, the techniques, the practices. Just meditate on it, visualize it, affirm it that you already have it, and then go into a space where you feel like you already have it, and you describe it and feel it so good that it's done. And it's done so well that it doesn't matter to you anymore because now you've achieved it.
Right.
And that's just a simple way to bring it to you and just grasp it. And that's how you attract it to you, and it just shows up. That's the easiest way to do it. So